So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back once again to the Watch Market Update Show. As you know, we are a public service watch announcement, always trying to tell you what's happening out there so you guys won't get fleeced and you won't get, hoodwinked by none of these hucksters out there, So we try to give you always the best of us. I'm going to ask all of you to please don't forget to give us a thumbs up if you can. Give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. You're not going to regret it. This is an unbelievable show. You're going to get to relax. You're going to get to laugh. I do a little bit of, a couple of sketches there. I do a little bit of funny, a little serious, a little bit of watches, a little bit of politics, all over the place. But telling you the truth on what's happening out there. All right, guys? We have something special today that I have from one of my organic watch channel subscribers, and he's really showing me a couple of things of watch dealers that we have, that I have names for them, and I'm gonna tell you the names of the Muppet Boiler Room, the Muppet Boiler Room list, and it's an unbelievable list that this subscriber of mine has prepared for me, and I'm gonna related to you guys. We have as this is the number one. This guy is the number one. This is the original Muppet Boiler Room secondary grade watch market channel and dealer. And we start off with his name is, Deputy Droopy Butthole Eyes, or better known as, Deputy Boxing Black Eyes, And we also have there, the gentleman of Trucking Sweat Stain Hat, Trucking Sweat Stain Hat, small little hands, small little feet, skin tight leotard jeans, with a Trucking Sweat Stain Hat with white out ears. He's there, number two. We also have, Jiminy Cricket, the Chia Pet Spray Can Hair, the Chia Pet Spray Can Hair out of that stable over there, so you guys won't forget. We also have there Dora the Explorer. Dora the Explorer is a side chick that works there too, a chick, just to let you know what's going on because you guys need to know this. And also we also have there a gentleman that worked there we used to call him the Amish honey bun maker. He's not there no more. We also have there the Puerto Rican Charlie Brown. The Puerto Rican Charlie Brown is a legend. He's unbelievable. He even has a tattoo on his, on his wrist. That's how loyal he is. You know what I'm saying? So we also have there another gentleman that worked there too, but he got the axe as well. We will call him Fred Savage, from the Wonder Years. He's gone. We have the Hungry Hippo, Mr. Magoo. The Hungry Hippo, Mr. Magoo. We have also Prune Face. Prune Face. Prune Face from Dick Tracy. Over there, on the other side, in the UK, over there, down there, Prune Face. We also have the Iron Sheik, Tunic Man, the Iron Sheik Tunic Man, you know what I'm trying to say? The Tunic Man. He's unbelievable, that Iron Sheik, He wears that tunic and the hat with the little black thing around him, He has like $400 million in Richard Millies over there, Just to let you know about that guy too, we have a Toupee Wigman. Toupee Wigman is from over there, from Beverly Hills. He hangs around with the two at the night at the Roxbury brothers. One is tall, one is short, one is, one talks, the other one is introverted. You know what I'm saying? Those guys, feet happy, feet happy. You know what I'm trying to say? We have too many people. We also have the German Joker. We have the German Joker for you. So you don't forget the German Joker. Unbelievable, that German Joker. We also have out of Miami, Florida, the two Toddler Body Brothers. Toddler, little toddler people, little body brothers. Unbelievable, those guys, They sell tickets, sweepstakes, raffles, and all that kind of stuff, Unbelievable, those people. Gentlemen, this is unbelievable. You need to get in touch with these names so you don't get burned, It's unbelievable, these names that this unbelievable subscriber of mine's prepared for me, I don't know how he does it, but he has all these names down to a science. And ladies and gentlemen, we also have the Juarez Fat Bastard, the Juarez Fat Bastard. Over there, that guy over there too, that he ran from his country over there to Dubai because he was going to become over there rich. But he got the localization over there because those people over there, they don't play around over there. In Dubai, those people will take off your socks off without taking off your shoes. That's how good they are. The people from Dubai, I know about that place. I send quite a few, cans, canned goods over there. And I almost got localized myself. Just to let you know what's going on, ladies and gentlemen. These are very powerful names that you need to know. Very powerful name. And I have to thank this Organic Watch channel subscriber that I have. He's unbelievable. The way he prepared all this for me. And I'm in shock that he knows all these names. And also, ladies and gentlemen, we have Kurela, over there. She's over there too. And over there, Elvira, she looks like Dracula's wife, over there, like that young lady, She has beautiful Hollywood looks, but that's her name. You need to understand that. We also got Popeye. Popeye, he always wears white shirts with yellow stains in his armpits. You know what I'm saying? Over there too, from the UK, You're getting two for the price of one right now. It's unbelievable. We got, the fake Italian flat top monkey eyebrows. The fake Italian. Over there, over there. With the monkey eyebrows, flat top hair, unbelievable. That guy too, you need to watch it with the fake Italian flat top monkey eyebrows. He'll get you. I know what I'm telling you. We also have the Australian George Clooney. You know who the Australian George Clooney is? Where they have those kangaroos down over there, It's unbelievable. We also have the subway train jumper, from 47th, the Diamond District in New York, He jumps around from train to train, the subway, from the movie Ghost. You look at his face, he's unbelievable. Hollywood looks he has. And he has a son, Vacuum, Vacuum. His name is Vacuum too, He had the other day on eBay something, an auction for you guys, for you Lambones, And ladies and gentlemen, we have the two Jehovah Witness brothers out of the Lone Star State, the Lone Star State. And we also have, those two Jehovah Witnesses are unbelievable. We've never heard from them again because the watch market is dead, Ladies and gentlemen, over there too in the Lone Star State, you got Big Pun and Heavy D. They're twin brothers. Twin brothers, they're over there from the Lone Star State. It's unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. And you also have, I call him in a sweet way, I call him in a sweet way, the West Virginia One-Eye Whitaker, all right? And ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you about a couple of names that you need to hear, and we're going to put it in the list. We also have Hermie the English Elf, from over there too, from the UK. Hermie the English Elf. And we also have, ladies and gentlemen, you're not going to believe this, but we also have the military, the military trooper, shave head, He's another one, the military trooper, shave head. He's unbelievable. He wears glasses. He's unbelievable. We also have the olive oil voice. We have the Japan, the guy, the analytics, and he does all that kind of stuff. And he tells you at the end the watch market is dead. Japan guy, Japan guy, olive oil voice, the military, trooper, it's unbelievable, that guy with the bald head and he shaved. I don't even shave. I don't know what it is. We also have the genie, with the skin tight hair and the size and a man bun. And we have his sidekick. We have also his sidekick, Sinbad. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Those are the names. If I'm missing one, please let me know. And I'll be very happy to, adjust it in this list. Because we got to talk to you about these people. These people son una gonorrea. These people are gonorrheas. And, they're like an infection. They're like an infection in the corner of your nail. When you get an infection in the corner, you know what I'm saying? And you also have, thank you very much, Mr. Wicked. We have Harry Potter from over there. He was from the UK, but he jumped to Dubai so he can get localized over there, It's unbelievable, This is unbelievable. This chapter is unbelievable. Today, it's unbelievable. I already said Hermie the English Elf, He's unbelievable. I forgot. We have Eugene. We have Eugene, a.k.a. Jacob McChicken, the ACC, the SEC is looking for him. I'm letting you know, Eugene, aka Jacob McChicken, the SEC is looking for him. If you're trying to buy, that Eclipse watch from Patek Philippe, look into this gentleman, because this guy will take off your socks off without taking off your shoes. I know what I'm telling you. I'm just letting you know what's going on. All right? Anyway, guys, I got to talk to you a little bit about our materials, our precious metal materials. And today I feel good again. And I'm going to start off with something that's going to blow your hair back and knock your socks off, ladies and gentlemen. I'm for real today. I want you guys to know something, that this is, let me drink a little bit of jungle juice because I'm getting a little bit agitated, Kino, ¿tiene la pastilla mía verde ahí del corazón? La tienes ahí, ¿verdad? Maybe I need my pill for my heart, And I want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I feel fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. Possum kickers are and cow tippers are us. Are us. I want you guys to know something. I feel very good with precious metal materials, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to tell you something that I want to start off with palladium. Palladium today is at $1,496 a troy ounce. Unbelievable but true, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, gold, gold, pure gold is at $4,140. Unbelievable. I feel today so powerful telling you these numbers because, papi, the show that I have for you today prepared is going to knock your socks off and blow your hair back. You're going to learn today. Ladies and gentlemen, you're not going to believe this, but platinum, platinum is going, it's going to beautiful places. It's at 1,000. Saludos, Mr. Donut. Saludos. Platinum is at $1,592. This is unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. And rhodium, ladies and gentlemen, I have so much faith in rhodium, it's unbelievable. Rhodium, ladies and gentlemen, it depends wherever you look at, It depends wherever you look at in rhodium, but it's at $8,300 a troy ounce. And ladies and gentlemen, my favorite one, I keep them for last because es bello, papá, tú sabes cuál es, papá, la plata. ¿Tú entiendes? Silver. Ladies and gentlemen, silver today at one moment. Remember, we're looking at what it hit. You know what it hit? It hit $49.29. $49.29. Saludos, Renato. Saludos, Renato. So I feel very, very, very comfortable. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you something that we are seeing things happening in America. I should say the world, but I'm going to say America. If you guys remember this person, you're going to understand the way America is. I'm going to put this on a couple of times for you guys so you understand what I mean. If you guys know this person, please.
Mr. Crazy Eddie blowout blitz. Crazy Eddie's not playing with a full deck because he's practically giving away TVs, VCRs, microwave ovens, stereo rack systems, video camcorders, anything and everything in home entertainment, and lots of home appliances too. Remember, we are not undersold, we will not be undersold, we cannot be undersold, and we mean it. It's a Crazy Eddie blowout blitz, and Crazy Eddie's going nuts with his lowest sale prices ever. See Crazy Eddie now, his blowout blitz sale prices are insane.
I'm going to do it one more time because this needs to sink into you guys,
It's a Crazy Eddie blowout blitz. Crazy Eddie's not playing with a full deck because he's practically giving away TVs, VCRs, microwave ovens, stereo.
He's not playing with a full deck.
Anything and everything in home entertainment, and lots of home appliances too. Remember, we are not undersold, we will not be undersold, we cannot be undersold, and we mean it. It's a Crazy Eddie blowout blitz, and Crazy Eddie's going nuts with his lowest sale prices ever. See Crazy Eddie now, his blowout blitz sale prices are...
It's unbelievable.
Insane.
He's even telling you he's not playing with a full deck of cards. And this is the way right now we are in America, ladies and gentlemen. You know, it's unbelievable what's happening in the world. Everything in the world is for sale. Everything in the world is for sale. When I tell you all this, you're not going to believe it. I want you guys to listen to this. Absolutely. That is Crazy Eddie from New York. You know, this is back, back in the very, very, very early 80s, late 70s. You know, these people with Crazy Eddie, they localize the whole New York, the whole New York area. They had stores in every corner, and they were, localizing everybody, ladies and gentlemen. You don't know about that. You have to be in New York to understand what I mean. Hicieron la zafra. You know what la zafra is? La zafra. Everybody. I don't think, none of those, companies got paid. How's that? That's all I got to tell you, okay? They didn't get paid. They got this. Everybody got that. And then they went belly up. Y se fueron para casa el carajo. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you this. You know it. There you go. He was a con man. There you go. I'm trying to tell him guys, I'm trying to tell you that in a very, very subliminal way. But, we have people here, they know who Crazy Eddie is. And he's telling you, he even told you on his recording, and we're not playing with a full deck of cards. Unbelievable, those people, man. Unbelievable. We're not playing with a full deck of cards. Even telling you that. So una sabandija. You don't know about that, but I'm telling you because I'm heading to tell you how this is going, ladies and gentlemen. This is what's happening out there. You stay with your mouth open, You stay with your mouth open. People are telling you that, silver now, we're going to pay, 10% on the spot, 10% on the spot they want to pay because, ladies and gentlemen, I got to tell you this, if you are following silver, and you should be following silver because silver is doing better than gold. I'm telling you that you do whatever you want. You got to keep your eyes open, put your glasses on to look real well. I put them on every morning, I got a couple of, young kids that work with us, and they're always trying to sketch me, giving me the sketch, I got late, my wife left me, my girlfriend cheated on me, they have all the excuses in the world. So I know all these lines, I know them all, I study them. I have to study el ser humano. I have to study the human mind, the way they behave. And I got a bunch of, sketches that work with us, Listen, I have Kino, and that's enough. You know what I'm saying? I got Kino, and I love Kino. Kino, basically, he does whatever he wants, Excuses. You know what I'm trying to say. Every day they have one, The flat tire, the policeman stopped them, got a ticket. And then at the end of the month, they say to me, hey, Juan, I got a problem with a ticket and it cost me $240. You think you could, and me like a possum kicker and a cow tipper here, I know it's a lie, but I got to give it to them because this is what they're doing to us. They're lying to us, they're lying to us. The ICA is lying to all of us. I haven't seen what's happening. If my father will come back and see what's happening in the world, he would think we're living in the Terminator, Terminator times. That guy, that strong guy that made the movie Terminator, like that. This is what's happening. I want you to know that the guy from Pennsylvania Avenue, the guy from Pennsylvania Avenue, he has a son. Not the 7'3". No, not that one. This one is like 6 feet 7 inches. 6 feet 7 inches. He's another one, another son that he has. He's probably older, probably he's, I don't know, in his late, 30s or early 40s, He's unbelievable, this guy. So they got this guy now here, all these sons are going to come in. They're all going to come in. You got the youngest one, 7 feet 3 inches. He's the tallest one of all of them. He's the youngest one. And this one is the second one, the second tallest, 6'7", 6'7". And ladies and gentlemen, you won't believe, ladies and gentlemen, he's announcing that there will be no capital gains tax on U.S. made crypto. Unbelievable. No hay impuesto, there's no tax. That kid, 6 foot 7 inch, the son of Pennsylvania Avenue, you know? He's real white, you know? He doesn't get a suntan, he's white. And he said that. He looks to me like a very charming man. But he said, you know, the crypto, Bobby, I can't say the word. Please help me out. Don't be afraid. If I say it, I will get a thunder lightning on my TV antenna and we will go off the air. So I got to watch it with those words. I'm trying here my best to let you know what's going on. Let me drink some jungle juice because I'm getting excited, ladies and gentlemen. I'm getting too excited. Ladies and gentlemen, this is unbelievable what's happening. And I got to tell you, you guys got to get prepared. Because I saw something. It came to Florida. What I'm going to tell you, it came to Florida. It's being announced in Florida. But I don't know where you're from. You know what cities, what states you live in. If you live in the United States or if you live across the pond. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to talk about Florida. Florida is very big. And we have a gentleman that works for us in Florida. His name is DeSantis Ron. You know, he's a political figure, you know. DeSantis, Ron, DeSantis Ron. You put the words, you play with it. And ladies and gentlemen, he has said something that if I'm telling you, if my father would be alive today, he said, what is happening in the world? We are living in crazy Eddie times. We're not playing with full deck of cards here, ladies and gentlemen. When you hear this, what they're trying, I said it wrong, not what they're trying to do, what's going to happen. The state of Florida, clears tax hurdles and sets stage for gold, silver payments starting in the year 2026. In the year 2026, Florida removed, listen to me, Florida, if you're from Florida, hear this, so you understand where gold, silver, and platinum and all those precious metals are going. Those cars that they have the catalytic converter under the car, and those scavengers get on there with a pair of tweezers and pliers and break it out to get the rhodium. You understand me? This is the way we're living. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. When you hear this, if you're smart, you'll stay to hear it and then leave. You go over there to Deputy Boxing Black Eyes channel, you go over there, you'll be happy. But let me tell you this, so you can be smarter tomorrow morning and you know what's going on. So Florida removed all sales tax on gold, silver, platinum, bullion, regardless of purchase value. Unbelievable. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know what that means, does anybody of you 29 Organic Watch channel subscribers, do you know what that means? Do you know what that's called? Because you might be thinking, how are people going to pay? How people going to pay? How is this going to happen? This is unbelievable, Mr. Donald. You got to hear this. This is a brilliant, this was sent from the ICA office, and this is coming, I am telling you, I'm just saying this allegedly. Allegedly. This is going to happen all over the United States, allegedly. But it's happening here in Florida in January 2026. Papi, here, this is going to blow your hair back and knock your socks off. Baja caer, flapping, You're going to salute the owl. You're going to salute the owl when I tell you this. Nobody knows what this is called? Nobody, huh? Well, let me tell you what it's called, ladies and gentlemen. It's called the barter system. BARTER BR, the barter system, ladies and gentlemen. It's a method of exchange, a method of exchange. You still don't know what that is, right? Because you guys are skip hopping around through life like rabbits while I read for free. This is a method of exchange. It's no longer just private, Now the state of Florida will accept. Listen, esta la bomba, papi. Localization de gratis. Get in line. We're going to localize you. Come on. The hurdle. Come on in. Everybody, come on. The hurdle. The hurdle like the wildebeest, and the Serengeti. Come on in. We're going to localization. Come inside. This is unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. This is something that I say, coño, how can this be? How can this be? The barter system. Google it, the barter system. This is, in Florida, we will accept gold from businesses to settle debts. Tu debe dinero, you owe money and taxes, you pay me with gold, you pay me with silver, you pay me with platinum, you pay me. This is something crazy, papi. This is futuristic. No. It's not going to happen. It's going to happen January 2026. Esto es una cosa de loco, muchacho. Let me explain to you. Let me give you a couple of examples because you guys you will continue to skip around like rabbits. And I cannot permit that, ladies and gentlemen. I cannot permit that. You know what that's called? That's like a direct, exchange of a plumber. A plumber might fix. A dentist, has a leak in his office, the faucet. You think I'm playing around. I'm so serious, it's scary. This is what this is called direct exchange. A plumber might fix a dentist's leak faucet. And in return, he'll receive a dental service. You exchange the plumber, the dentist. You know what I'm saying? Have you ever heard of that? Because you might be thinking, so how are they going to do this? It's an exchange. It's an exchange. Papi, una locura. And I'm here dropping knowledge for you for free. No, you guys don't want to hear that. You guys want to keep on talking about the Kardashians. You want to talk about the Kardashians. You want to talk about how she cut her hair from this long to this short. That's what you want to talk about. And you want to see, that buttocks full of, fat from the belly or the stomach, back there. That's what you want to see. And you also want to see that guy that won the triathlon, the guy, the man that was married to her, that now he has pechugas, That's what you guys want to hear. It's called the barter exchange. And I gave you one example. I'm going to give you another example because you guys need examples. A mutual need. The system requires a double coincidence of ones, meaning both parties must have something the other needs or wants for a trade to occur. Papi, what are we living in, bro? Está llegando. They talked about, Cuba, Nicaragua, this one, Venezuela. Papi, it's here. I don't want to tell you what's here, but it's here. Have you ever heard of something like that? Have you ever heard of something like that, papa? What I'm giving you is big. Para que se le queden grabar en la chola, en la cabeza. Thank you very much for that super chat, Renato. Agradecido un millón. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, what I'm talking about is something scary. It's something scary. You know what it is? Mutual need. Mutual. Me and Mr. Dona, we have a mutual. Requires a double. Oh man, this is, There is meaning both parties have something the other needs. You know? Thank you, Julius from Miami. Thank you, Papi. Help me out because I believe that you are 10 times smarter than me. And if you open your own channel, you will be unbelievable like Mr. Donor, like Mr. Blair, and so on and so on. You know, I'm just telling you, Julius, you know, help me out. It's unbelievable. You know what it is? My father will, this is like the Waltons. You remember the Waltons? You guys don't remember the Waltons? The Waltons were unbelievable. You know, they lived back in those times, you know, going down to the, you know, downtown to trade potato for chicken, you know. It's unbelievable. This is where we're living at. Papi, está aquí ya. It's here. It's here. You don't believe me? It's here. John Boy. Whatever happened to John Boy, you know? Unbelievable. He did real good. And Melissa Gilbert. You know Melissa Gilbert. She was in that show too. I used to love the father. The father was reminding me of my father, you know, always, he's a very serious man, you know. It's unbelievable. So I want you to understand that, you know. I've already gave you direct exchange, mutual need, you know. I'm giving it to you. And then you have, you know, value agreement. Value agreement. Papi, it's here already, man. Value agreement. The individuals involved must agree on the value. You know, on your silver or your platinum or your gold. You must agree on the value of the goods of services being exchanged. Papi, what's coming our way is dangerous, man. You're gonna tell me that you know, that gold and silver and platinum and rhodium and palladium, they ain't going up? Come on, man. It's here, man. You just gotta read, man. You gotta wake up and read. You know, gotta get up at 5 o'clock in the morning with an eye booger. You know what an eye booger is? An eye booger. And you take it out so you can see better. So you can see better what's happening out there. You know that? Paco Gambino told me, he told me, Juan, whatever you know, you let them know. You let them know. Don't worry about it. You let them know. And I'm letting you know, ladies and gentlemen, this is unbelievable what's happening. You want me to give you a modern example? I'm going to give you now a modern example, you know? I went away from, you know, the Waltons, you know? Little House in the Prairie, or whatever you call it, Little House in the Prairie, or whatever you want to call that, you know? I'm going to go now modern on you guys. I'm going to go modern on you guys. It's unbelievable. You know, today, this can include this. Listen to this, papi. Es una locura. People don't want to know about this. They want to continue getting localized. But I don't want you guys to get localized. I don't want that to happen to you guys. Habla, papá, que tú sabes mucho. Go for NFT. Wow, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, this is crazy. This can include anything from swapping. Swapping. Papi, esto es una cosa peligrosa. What I'm telling you, this is, you know, they send them the memo. The ICA sent out the memo. This is the way each of you are going to have an agenda, and you're going to attack it this way. You're going to attack it. We're going to take these people back to the cowboys. You know, para los vaqueros los indios. You know, the pilgrims. You know what I'm saying? The pilgrims. You know, the turkey. You know, it's unbelievable. They're taking us there. And I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, you know, from swapping, listen to this. Include anything from swapping a car repair, you know, you hear these things, for a home improvement. You know, install a fan in your house, install a door, a front door, you know, fix, you know, I don't know, something, one of your, you know, la taza de los baños, you know, where you guys take a dumpster. You know what I'm saying? You know, we exchange. Bobby, this is where they're taking us, man. So what makes me think, or how can I think that I see these precious metal materials go down when this is going out? When this is going on, when our government from Florida is saying, listen, if you have a debt with us, we take your gold. We take your silver, we take your platinum, we take your catalytic converter, under your car, under the car, we get the rhodium here. You know what I'm saying? Or how is it, ladies and gentlemen, that you're my landlord? Julius from Miami is my landlord, or Mr. Donut, or Mr. Blair is my landlord. And I told my landlord, the rent is $3,000 a month. And I told my landlord, I have 2 earrings, Mr. Landlord. I'm going to pay you my rent this month. Papi, esto es una cosa de loco. It's every day. And we're going, they're saying out there, ladies and gentlemen, allegedly, I'm not saying it, because somebody showed me in this channel. Somebody showed me in this channel. Imagine next year. Somebody showed me in this channel that the government shutdown, they're calling it the Zorro George government shutdown. It's on its 25. You guys help me out. If you don't mind, please help me out. Put it there so I can, I can tell the people how many days already is the shutdown. But ladies and gentlemen, I think this is like the 25th day. And I'm going to tell you this because you need to know this. They are saying that this is going to break that record that we had. They broke the bank. They broke the bank. They're saying that it's going to break the record that we had. I think somebody told me, Mr. Donut. I think Mr. Donut told me. Sí, nos están preparando, papi. They están preparando. They're preparing us. They're preparing us, to put us in category colors. You don't know about that. You don't know about that. Category colors. Category colors. White, yellow, blue, orange. They put you in category. Well, this person is a doctor. Let's put this guy in orange. He's unbelievable. We got one, Felipe Nieves. He's a salesman. Let's put him in white. He's no good for us. This guy's a lawyer. Put him over in orange. You don't know about this. You don't know about this. This is too much for your head. No, ustedes no tienen la capacidad. Anonymous. The guy with the Joker mask, funny voice, and the tunic. He told me everything, ladies and gentlemen. He told me everything. Anonymously. Anonymously. Ladies and gentlemen, lo están preparando. And then you got the guy from Pennsylvania Avenue, because people are crazy. People are living a lie. People are believing what they say, the masses. The masses believe everything that they're telling them in TV and the radio. They believe everything. Thank you very much, Thurston. Thank you, Papa. Gracias. Thank you very much, Papa. Thank you. They're believing everything. So you have this gentleman from Pennsylvania Avenue, and they saying that, we have a 37 billion. Sorry, not billion. I take it back. 37 trillion. 37 trillion. And they're talking about that, who knows, we might be able to fix, we might be able to fix. He went to Costa Rica. We might be able to fix the $37 trillion deficit we have in this country. You know what that's called? You know what that's called? You don't know what that's called. Can somebody tell me what that's called? That's a reset, man. That's a reset. No, it's a reset. What they're talking is, a reset. With a gift. We're going to let Mr. Donut, Mr. Nieves, Sweet Kino, if he owns in credit cards $50,000, wipe them out. We're going to start all of us fresh. All of us fresh. You have a lien of taxes, fresh. The only thing you need is a Social Security. You know? It's a magical buzzword, you know? But meanwhile, they're telling you, you can pay me, you can pay the taxes, you can pay whatever you owe the government, you can pay me with your hardware. You know, your hardware. Gold. Papi, you know, since when we don't talk about, you know, we're going to be paying with gold our groceries, un pan con bistec, or croqueta, you know, or croquettes. A pan con bistec, you know how long it's been that we don't pay with that? It's coming back in style. Oye, tú lo sabes, luxury gentlemen, lo que viene por ahí. I don't know how old you guys are. I know how old I am. I'm an old geezer. I'm 63 years old. Pero papi, you know, I might be leaving this world, but I know that it's coming, bro. Because I've been seeing it, man, in different decades of my life. I've seen it, the way it's moving. And it's moving so fast that it's scary, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you, es una locura. To somebody, you get your son, you put him over there. He says, Dada, give me 30 million. I'm going to convert it to 190 million. You get the other son, you know, that was 7 foot 3 inches. He converted 30 into 190 millions. And you get the other one that's 6 foot 7. Go up there and say this about crypto, no taxes charged, none of that. Papi, it works like a charm. And then you got that guy, I'm telling you, he has to be somewhere, you know, in a big round table sitting down with all these people. And I'm talking about, you know, Rock Black. I'm talking about Rock Black. Rock Black. Put the words around. That guy is sitting down, and that guy is a master. You know, el tipo es un genio. He's a genius in what numbers are. You know? What numbers are. Wow. So we have, you know what I'm trying to say. You know, Papi, this is all coming in place. So a lot of you basically, you know, you're in that, you know, that age bracket that I am, you know. So I'm already seeing it, and it's coming so quick, because I couldn't believe that, you know, we have a governor from Florida that's, you know, already promoting this, Papi, and making sure that on January 2026 is in effect. You say, pero coño, ¿cómo es esto? So my question to all of you, I don't know what cities and states you live in. Has something like this happened in your states? Or is it basically, you know, I don't know, a sunshine state, or, you know? He knows. You know? He knows. No, Papi, not that he knows. Now we're going to go back to the word. He got corrected. Papi, when those people come and see you, you're corrected. Papi, you start singing like a parrot. You become obedient. And that's it. You know? No. Don't show me your boots, your cowboy boots. You know, your cowboy boots that you put, you know, those risers to make you look taller. I come to tell you what it is. You say this. This is what it is. I don't want to hear what you got to say. You know, whoever has the money is the one that makes the rules. Una cosa de loco. Allegedly. You know, he got corrected, Papi. This is, people see, I show you the word on chapter 28. Chapter 20, I show you corrected. When they come and see you, they come to correct you. And you might say, no, you're not going to correct me. Don't worry about it. They leave. That's all. Something, an accident happened. A coconut tree hit you in the head. Ya está. That's all. But how you gonna tell me that you want my silver and you want my gold? And if I owe you taxes, I can pay you with gold. And if I have my toilet is messed up, I can exchange it. You know, I can exchange it with another person for a dentist to put me a front tooth. Papi, esto es una locura lo que está pasando. Lo que está pasando papi, it's happening so fast. That's it. You said it, Renato. I'm trying to tell these people in a subliminal way. You guys help me out. It's happening so fast. Like I told you, the goal was just happening too fast. And now, vamos a paniquearlo. Let's panic all these people. Let's panic them. You know, the ones that keep on dancing in the clubs and dancing, leave them alone. You know, leave those souls alone. They're dancing. They're taking, you know, CHT. You know, they're taking the fan. You know, you know what I'm saying? You know, keep on watching the Coliseum sports. Ladies and gentlemen, this is something that you need to know. Once they get involved, the thing really gets milky. It gets really milky. When you were, and I'm saying this so you understand what I'm saying, when you were 18 years old and you had to go to that neighborhood to capial, to get a little fuma, to get a little smoke, you got it, right? You pay the $5 and you did your song and dance and you had your CHT, right? Back then. And it was perfect. You know, they will catch you, a slap in the hand, and you don't go home, right? But once the government got involved, you know, once they got involved and they fixed it up, everything went belly up. Because we're not going to give you no more organic. We're going to give you, somebody show me this in this channel. If you want, come out and tell me, we're going to give you 80% potent. Pa volverte loco. Pa volverte loco. Pa volverte loco. Pa volverte loco. So you don't see straight, you don't hear, you don't have no kind of questions. Walk through here, you walk through there. Once they come in and they get involved, papi, te jodites. Te jodites. You know? Exactly. Gas station. You said it, Wicked. Say it for them. I can't say it. You say it. So you got all these people, they're all frogged up and nobody's questioning. Keep on giving them Budweisers. You know, keep on giving them Budweisers. Keep on giving them the Fen. Keep on giving them the CHT. They're not going to ask no questions. They're not going to remember. You know, están unos lambones. So once they get involved, everything is going to change. Once they get involved, and they're getting involved in everything of our lives. You know, and I'm telling you, when they went to see him, it's, you know, and when you are on board, they shake your hand. Thank you very much, you know, Governor, whatever his name is. Thank you very much. And, you know, we'll be counting on your help and your support. Don't worry about it. You know, I do it. You know, you don't want to get clipped. You don't want to have a slip and fall, you know, with a soap. You know, something happened, skiing, ice skating, whatever you want to call it. You don't want these people, esto es el diablo. What's coming to us is going so fast. Guys, I was telling you, listen, guys, I didn't think when I made it to $3,000 a troy ounce of gold, I said, wow, man, I only dreamed about $3,000 a troy ounce of gold. But then it just flew from 3,000 to 4,000 so quick that it was crazy. And then you see the margins, the behavior of silver and gold. And then you see, well, you know what? Silver is outperforming. You know, he got corrected, papi. You know, he got corrected. He got correct. You know, silver is performing. It might be a small number of $59 a troy ounce, but it's performing better than gold. You know, and they're trying to, you know, people look that way while we do this. Papi, everything is on shutdown. You haven't heard no more. I haven't heard no more from the guy from Pennsylvania Avenue. I haven't heard no more from the guy from over there from Venezuela. All those 7 destroyers parked out there. It costs $8 million a day to have those destroyers out there. And ladies and gentlemen, allegedly, I don't know if it's $8 million for all the, you know, the convoy they have there, or it's $8 million for, each vessel, I don't know. I'm just telling you, maybe you guys can help me out because I'm stupid like that. Yo soy un lambón, y un palomo, But, you have them out there, submarine, 8 destroyers, including SS Fort Lauderdale, Okay, you see somebody saying $300. And I told you today already that they're already saying with the people that I spoke to, Papi, I don't see no reason why this thing doesn't hit $80. Yeah. $80. Papi, you know what is $80 a troy ounce of silver? Papi, eso nunca se ha visto. You've never seen that. So what are they doing now with Maduro over there? What are they talking about? Listen, man, I don't want no more problems with you guys. If you guys want my cheap oil, my thick, cheap oil that your refineries can refine it, because we can't, our refineries are so old, that we can't even refine that. We have to sub it out. I bet you didn't know that. Our refineries are so old that we can't. We don't have that. No tenemos esa capacidad. We don't have the machinery. We don't have it, Subcontractors. Dale para allá. Send it away. Send it away and that's it. Ladies and gentlemen, I honestly, really believe that you guys needed to hear this because, it's very scary. You saw what Crazy Eddie said. Crazy Eddie said, we're not playing with a full deck of cards. And he was telling you, if you want to know who Crazy Eddie is, ask your fellow, recovering tomato cans. They'll tell you who he is and where he went. Because he had an agenda. Nobody's getting paid. No Iowa, no, I don't know, CNF, Panasonic, VHS, VCR, I don't know, Betamax. Nobody's getting paid. Those big boxes of, projection TVs, nobody's getting paid. Of course you can give all those prices, How can it be that he's giving a price for a big Magna box, TV? It's 50, 60 inches, 70 inches, and they're selling them out there regular price back then, back in the 80s, for, $1,300, $1,400. And this guy was selling them for $700. You know why? You want me to tell you why? Because that guy came from the same crib where those people from 47th Street and the Diamond District come from. You don't know about that. You don't know about that. You don't know about that. They already know. They already know. The same crib, man. The same master. Listen to this. Listen to this. And I feel kind of, should I tell him this or shouldn't I tell him this? But I am going to tell you because I'm stupid like that. Ladies and gentlemen, there are people that when they're going to do a crime, listen and learn, Papi. There are people that when they are going to do a crime, and I don't mean a hard crime, I don't mean those brutal crimes. I mean, a grift, a grift, Careful, thank you very much. A grift. Help me with the word. Somebody put it up there and I'll continue on, okay? A grift, something, paperwork, something, okay. A swindle, okay, a swindle, you're something that's, you're not committing a armed, robbery, you know what I'm trying to say. Okay, perfect. So what they do is they go to visit a counselor, an attorney, and they sit down. They haven't done nothing yet. But they're getting, they're getting to hear what kind and what percentage I'm going to do if I do this consult and I get pinched, right? Let's talk about that guy, Eddie Crazy, right? Eddie Crazy. So he would take from Magnavox, Sony, Samsung, CNF. You follow me? All those audio, video, all that good stuff, It didn't pay nobody, right? And this is all an example, allegedly. This is fake. But I'm trying to give you something. And they go visit the counselor, the attorney at law, and he says, if I do this, ta, 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 ta. And they tell them right there. They tell them right there, well, for that, and I take down 15 million. I take down 15 million. Well, it's not it's, basically you did this, you declare yourself in bankruptcy, you did this, you didn't know, blah, 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 blah. Kino knows already what's happening. So Kino goes and does his stunt. He does his stunt. Thank you, Konya Gay. I've been telling you to help me out, but you guys don't want to help me out. So I have to stop. So they find out if in Florida is different from New York, if New York is different from Canada, Canada is different from California, Texas, and so on, which is the weakest one. They find out everything. And hacen así, pan. Okay, let's go. We're gonna open 20 stores in all the boroughs of New York. Queens, Long Island, the Bronx, Manhattan, I don't know, everywhere, all over the place, all over Brooklyn. Papi, they were everywhere. They got him. This guy did this, bam, bam, bam. What did he do? What frame time? Pay a couple of penalties, give him 36 months, and come out in 18. 15 mil. Vamos. It's look at that. They can garnish in Texas. People, los macabélicos grandes son increíbles. Look, I'm going to tell you one more and I'm going to let you guys go. But this is a big one. When I was a younger man, there was always a good quarterback out there named Joe Namath. Joe Namath, Broadway Joe. And then you start seeing, a Joe Montana, and then you start seeing this quarterback, that quarterback. And then they start telling you, you see your uncles, your uncle, your grandfather, putting a couple of dollars on the Sunday football game, on the football game, with a one of those, bookies. I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say. Dan Marino, all that good stuff. And you're betting like that. You're making a phone call from your house line. Hey, put me $20, on the over. Put me $20 on the under. Give me 2.5 on the Giants, Ladies and gentlemen, when that was going on, it was nice and dandy. It was, nobody was getting hurt. It was quiet, quiet, $20, $50. You can hear my father jumping up. I hit him and he scored a field goal. I won it. I covered. I won $50. 73, 74. You're hearing your family members, Ladies and gentlemen, I told you this, that when you were 18 and you were doing that CHT with a 4% potent, and they got involved, it went from 4% potent organic to a 90, 80%. I'm telling you what my people here have told me. I don't know about that. I'm saying allegedly, I'm saying how high it went because the government got involved. Now, All those people that were betting on the Sunday football game, Monday night, Thursday night, they said, you know what? We want a piece of this. Let's open it up for everybody now in the whole United States. Papi, do you know that 18-year-old kids are sick out of their mind? They don't want to become no more. They don't want to become no more an engineer. They don't want to become no more an accountant. They don't want to become no more a teacher. They want to become betting. If you hear what they're doing today on those people they're betting in the casinos, papi, it's crazy. They even talk about if the guy coughs, you can put that in a parlay. It's crazy. It's crazy what they're doing to young kids in the senior year. They're going nuts. And they're sitting the whole day looking at the big screen, toda la pizarra, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Buffalo, Los Gigantes. That's what they're doing. They got us all, como allá, como el Coliseo en la Roma, the Colosseum. Keep them busy. Keep them busy. Keep them busy. Keep them addicted. Addicted. You think that my father, my uncle, my grandfather, cousins were like that back in the 70s and even in the early 80s and even in the 90s? No, papi. But once the ICA gets involved, se jodió todo. Papi, people, you go there, you see kids cutting out of school. Cutting out. From Miami-Dade South, Dade North, campus, FIU, sitting like this. And getting in deeper and deeper and deeper trouble. With their credit cards hasta las tetas. You know what teta is? You Google it, because I'm not going to tell you. And neither is Sweet Kid Kino. You know what Kino's doing? He's watching me. You know what he's doing to me? He's going to that to me. Unbelievable. Están todos enviciados. Están todos enviciados. Forget about that, Crampton that they sell in the convenience stores, in the 911s, that thing they sell there, for the back pain. No. Estos están locos. Están locos. Están locos. They have two things going on. They're playing with that CHT at 90%. Meanwhile, I would do it when it was 4%, and I was probably 19, 18 years old. 4%. Today, 90%. You can't think. And then you got that gambling problem. They put their people, listen to me, they put people there to put on commercials that they don't have no money, that they're making money like you won't believe it. Like who? Let's say an example. This guy must have won in boxing. He must have won over $500 million in boxing. The guy doesn't even have, half a billion dollars to probably, I'll say $10 million, right? They got him sitting down, promoting this casino, that casino. It's the whole day, man. It's the whole day. People cannot think straight. Keep them busy. Keep them busy. You understand me? Keep them busy. And that guy, DeSantis, he got corrected and he laid the law. But I'm telling you, wherever you're from, this is going to your state too. Pay me. You owe me taxes. You can pay me with your gold coins. You can pay me with your bullions, 999. You can pay me. It's incredible, Bobby. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. They don't have. They don't want to study. They don't want to do nothing. They want to skip around through life, doing that thing that they sell in the 9/11. You know that, and then watch a football game. Tonight, Thursday night football. Tonight they're crazy. And they got the most craziest things there now. Because back in our time, you just had the over under. You had 3 points, minus, over, plus, whatever. That's it, money line. That's about it. Papi, if you see what they have out there on those boards, you go, oh my God. You can bet they want all your money. 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 They don't care how it is. So, ladies and gentlemen, I told you all that. I want you guys, to stop being Shaggy Rogers, stop being Shaggy Rogers. And, I take my time out of my day to explain all this to you. I told you what Mr. DeSantis is doing effective January 2026, I believe. You can pay whatever debt you have to them, to the government, with your gold, silver, platinum. You can pay them, And I already told you what it's called. I already told all of you what it's called. It's called the barter system. B-A-R-T-E-R system. Barter system. Esto es lo que viene. And I'm telling you, está aquí ya. It's already here, guys. Guys, I'm going to give you guys a watch market update for a couple of my subscribers so you guys can skip, along your way. And I'm going to give you a Patek Philippe. I'm going to talk about a Patek Philippe annual calendar 5396 white gold. Unbelievable. 5396 white gold annual calendar. Retail price is $78,528. And this is unbelievable. Sir, if you're looking to buy that watch, because you're telling me, you send me in my channel, in our private group, you send me this. You send me the pictures, and I'm going to give you the price you should pay. You do whatever you want with your money. I'm not telling you to buy it. I'm not telling you that. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you, don't buy it. How's that? Don't buy it. But I'm going to tell you right now, because I'm stupid like that, and I like to be stupid like that. Don't pay for that watch more than $31,500, and this is for you. Okay? You got that one. That's for you. That's one. And this is another one you wanted. Ladies and gentlemen, I talked to you about this watch for a long time. And I told you, listen, this is the watch to get. It's white gold. It's very heavy. And you can get it out there for $24,000. Unbelievable. This is a Rolex Daytona with a racing dial. Racing dial. And they also have it with a darker dial too, It was a dial that had never made it big, but it was unbelievable. It's the same white gold, the one they use today, Same thing. White gold, Rolex Daytona, racer dial, racing dial, 40 millimeter. You want to hear the reference number? It's 116509, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to tell you, sir, because you want to get this watch. And I'm telling you, it's still a beautiful looking watch. And the price is not no more $24,000 because you guys were sitting down, picking your boogers from your eyes. So you never really got it. But I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, at one time it was that. At one time it was that, Mr. Blair. Exactly, it was that. But today, we got to be truthful, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, this is the #1 watch market update show in the world. There's nobody better than us. Self-proclaimed, we're #1. And we've been chosen by no other than Fudinki as the best watch market update show. And they say that, Sweet Kikino is #1. He's the owner of this channel. I'm the voice. That's all. Owner and brains, I'm the voice. Don't pay for that watch, for that beautiful white gold Daytona with a racing dial. Don't pay. You ready for this, sir? Don't pay more than $27,000 and Kino, hala para atrás. Hala. I'm going to give it to him. Hala. My elbow's good today. Hala para atrás. Hala. Oye, Woody. You did. I know what I'm telling you. You do whatever you want. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm also going to talk to you about FP Jorn. FP Jorn is an unbelievable, time machine, ladies and gentlemen. FP Jorn is in, like I said again, this is a different category. You got the Rolex people, you put them in this category. Then you have the Rolex people with AP, and you keep on moving up. Vacheron with AP, like that. And then you put Pate Philippe, FP Jorn, that type of stuff, This is where that stuff is at. FP Jorn, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to talk to you about a FP Jorn Octa Sport aluminum. Reference ARS titanium encasing is 42 millimeter Octa, Octa, whatever you want to call that stuff, with a nickel dial, it's unbelievable, this watch, very, very rare, 42 millimeter. They produced this watch from 2012 to 2014. Yes, that company 1619 has been localizing a lot of people, but listen, this is a watch that, they stopped making it, and it was complicated because they were doing it in aluminum, and it was too much, hassle to produce it. Just a rare watch, ladies and gentlemen, a rare watch, and people had it out there for ultra thin, it has too many things, ultra thin. It's an unbelievable watch, to be honest, and it has the little, bumpers in the side, una jodienda reloj. It's an incredible watch. And that watch, ladies and gentlemen, it was up there at $300,000, $350,000. It's an unbelievable watch. And I'm going to tell all of you, if you're looking for, FP Jorn, and I'm telling you, you can see open case in the back. You can see the heart, the organs. You can see everything on this watch. No. I say things the way they are. You put this on, and the girls go by, and their panties go down. La panty pa piso y más nada. You go like that, boom, panties down. But ladies and gentlemen, they're asking for that watch. They were asking at one moment, 350, 300, 275, 250, 200. I'm going to tell you, sir, you do whatever you want. It's your money, and you spend it as you please. But don't pay for that watch. Don't pay for that watch more than, I'm even going to say even cheaper. Don't pay more than $151,000. And I'm telling you what it is. I'm telling you what it is. You do whatever you want. You do whatever you want. Ladies and gentlemen, we have also an FP Jorn Octa. The line sport. The line sport. It's unbelievable. 42 millimeter. It's black titanium. Black titanium. It's an unbelievable watch. They only made of this watch 174 pieces, and that's including the one also with the rubber. With the rubber strap. Listen and learn. No sean lambones. Es de gratis. Es de gratis, papá. Es de gratis. And those 174, they're even including the ones that came with a rubber strap. You know what I'm trying to say, Mr. Donut. I might sound funny to you, and you might think I'm a joke, but Papi, I'm far from being a joke. Nah, I'm only playing, guys. I'm only playing. I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, beautiful watch. 2018. 2018, black titanium. Don't pay for that watch. And I mean this from the bottom of my heart, guys. Don't be a dodo bird. No sean lambones y palomos. Don't pay for that watch more than $114,000. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. This is your Watch Market Update show for this beautiful evening. I hope I was able to transmit something positive to you guys, so you guys, you will stop, being, window lickers, crumb bums, sandbags, tomato cans, possum kickers, cow tippers, palm olive, dish lickers. You can stop all that. All right, guys? Please do not forget to subscribe to the channel and always like this video so it can keep on going far. I want to thank all of you from the bottom of my heart who were here today with me on this, live stream. Thank you very much for joining me, for being here. And I mean all of you. Thank you very much. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. It means 1,000 to me. It does. Right, guys? Thank you so much. Have a good evening. And like me and sweet Kikino to me, Joaquin to you say always, take care and brush your hair. Peace, guys. Be good. Ciao. Don't let Ron get you.